Equatorial Guinea, a Central African nation, is a unique blend of mainland territory and volcanic islands. Spanish colonial influence is evident in Malabo, the island capital known for its colonial architecture and oil industry. Despite its oil wealth, Equatorial Guinea faces challenges. Income inequality is high, with a small elite benefiting from resource wealth. The discovery of oil has significantly improved the public service like education and healthcare. Equatorial Guinea boasts a fascinating geography. Montellane National Park shelters rainforests teeming with gorillas, chimpanzees, and elephants. Bayoko Island offers stunning beaches, while Ano Bon Island, located far south, is a volcanic marvel. Behind this, however, lies a curse to the people of Equatorial Guinea. The country has a complex political landscape. President Theodore Obiang Nguema has been in power since 1979, raising concerns about authoritarianism. Tonight, however, we are not here to talk about the beauty of Equatorial Guinea, but we shall be shining a spotlight on the brute, the dictator that has been in power since 1979. Tonight, the story of a tyrant, possibly the worst in the world. He is vicious, he is venal, and he is robbing the country blind. His country is among the poorest in the world. While the rest of the country is wallowing in abject poverty, he is swimming in absolute opulence. Just offshores, the country discovered vast oil deposits, and these became not national treasure as it would be expected, but property of the first family and their close allies. The oil deposits are so huge that if put to proper use, the country could easily become the richest in the world in a span of not more than 10 years. Unfortunately, all the money is being pumped directly into the president's pocket to the detriment of the larger population. The tyrant that runs this small African country gets around in an entourage worth of a superpower, and he is just about the most horrible despot in the world today. President Theodore Obiang Nguema, his people are among the poorest on earth, while he is among the richest on earth. What an irony. Equatorial Guinea is one bad place as it stands right now. The country has had the most appalling human rights records probably in the world. Regular torture, regular execution, and extrajudicial killings. Until they found oil, nobody really was talking about Equatorial Guinea. The oil in Equatorial Guinea is so attractive because it comes with absolutely no obstacles, for you can comfortably say it's non-Arabic oil, it's non-OPEC. This is the organization of the petroleum exporting countries. Equatorial Guinea is not a member, and this oil is equally non-Muslim and thereby comes with very limited obstacles to whoever wants to take advantage of this situation. The main island of this country is what is famously referred to as the armpit of Africa. A small Australian company, Rock Oil, is drilling here, but it's mostly American giants, particularly ExxonMobil, that are drilling oil from this country. In a deal seen between the government of the Equatorial Guinea and these oil giants, it's very unfortunate to disclose that the Equatorial Guinea as a country was given a raw deal whereby the country was left with 12% of the oil revenue, while 88% of the oil revenue goes to the oil drilling companies. Under normal standard practices in the oil industry, the norm is that it should be shared 60-40. But what we have at hand is 12-88. The government of Equatorial Guinea had absolutely no clue about what it was doing and hence was taken total advantage of. The main square in the capital is a quiet throwback of Spanish colonial times. Everywhere the city is essentially a slum with no running water, no electricity, except for the big boys of the country. While the fire from the oil rigs flickers at night, students with no electricity at home study under the street lights that illuminates from the drive to the presidential palace. It's so bad that road to the presidential palace is well lit, while the rest of the country almost has no electricity, that school-going children have to come under, or rather have to come by the roadside to be able to use the electricity for their studies before they go back to their homes where they have absolutely no access to electricity. According to Francis Rudi, former US ambassador to Equatorial Guinea, a university professor, writer, general counsel for the Department of Energy, and editor, Equatorial Guinea is led by a very evil government, and he could not believe it that the reputable American companies, some of which he represented as a lawyer, were in bed with the evil regime. He once said in an interview that it is shameful for a great company like ExxonMobil to be tied in with such a corrupt government, that the Equatorial government president treated the treasury of the country like his own cash cow. The president and his family are frequently overseas. His son Theodore Jr. spends most of his time in Paris, dining at the finest hotels, shopping at designer stores, and doing all sorts of things that money can afford him. On one of his numerous sprees, he once allowed a French television company to tag along and witness him spend big bucks, while his people back home wallowed in poverty, not affording 3 square meals a day. When he steps in a fashion store, doors are closed to other clients to give him exclusive access to all merchandise of his choice. On that eventful day, he bought 30 suits and designer jewelry worth hundreds of thousands of euros. He drove around in a Bentley and Ferrari, and later on headed off to his favorite music store for a collection of his favorite music that he enjoyed during his free time. Of course, when you have access to the country's national treasury, there's absolutely nothing you can't afford. Research shows that although the country is getting richer, the people are getting poorer, and this is as a result of the mismanagement of national resources by the Nguema family that only cares for their stomach and not anybody else. Money that should be channeled to the national coffers for greater good is instead being channeled into the president's pocket and those of his allies. This amazing country boasts of only 2 swimming pools, one being at the white man's hotel. The pool at this hotel does not have water either, so not to think about the other swimming pool. As a result of lack of resources, the country was able to get itself the record of the world's slowest swimmer at the Sydney Olympics by the names of Eric Mosambani. Still boiling with ambitions, he had to go an extra mile of traveling to South Africa and Ghana for training sessions. It goes without forgetting the iron fist with which Nguema has ruled Equatorial Guinea. Nguema has ruled the country with an iron fist, not thinking twice about throwing his opponents into jail, and the unlucky ones getting tortured and executed. When Nguema seized power from his uncle Matthias Nguema in a military coup in 1979, he threw him behind bars for a couple of days and later on ordered for his execution. Because he is a brutal dictator, most of his opponents have fled to Madrid, Spain, their former colonial power that has offered them refuge away from the claws of Nguema. During an interview with 60 Minutes Australia, Jose Pablo Mvo-Owono, one of Nguema's strongest critics and opponents, once said, "Nguema has taken over all resources in the country. He genuinely believes that they belong to him." On the contrary, the president believes that he is actually sharing the resources with his people, and in an interview with CBS 60 Minutes with Bob Simon, he was once quoted as saying, "The oil has been for us like manna the Jews ate in the desert. We have to follow the rules to make sure that the manna reaches all the people of Equatorial Guinea." He equated the oil situation in Equatorial Guinea to the manna that was given to the Jews in the Bible, and believes that he's been following all the relevant rules, and therefore the manna is reaching down to the ordinary person in Equatorial Guinea. Whether that's the case or not, both you and I can see exactly what's happening. The oil companies are making sure that the manna does not go beyond the president, and from the president's assertion, I suppose, when he eats, Equatorial Guinea eats too. For the president, it's red carpet treatment wherever he goes in the events hosted by the big oil companies, as has been seen every time he visits the United States of America. In an interview, Mr. Stephen Hayes, President Emeritus Corporate Council on Africa, who ran America's Corporate Council on Africa that lobbies for American oil, was once asked whether there was any depth to which they would not sink, and whether they would still do business with the President Obiang, no matter how corrupt he was, and he responded by saying, "I am not sure that there is any oil company that would refuse to do business where there was much oil." He further went ahead to say that even if they pulled out, some other companies would not think twice to jump in there, and so it really made no sense for them to stop dealing with such a corrupt regime. When further pressed by the interviewer, he concluded by saying that he did not believe that the oil companies were doing anything wrong by dealing with the corrupt regime, and that they were following all the rules. It turns out Obiang does lots and lots of business in Washington, that is to say, oil business and private business. It is rumored that the president does his private banking business at Riggs Bank, the same bank that the Saudi royals use. He is said to hold in excess of 6 accounts in this particular bank, which accounts are also said to receive loyalty paychecks from oil dealings. Some accounts hold cash running into hundreds of millions of dollars. It is therefore not surprising that the president can afford to buy mansions and luxury spread all over the world. Back home in Equatorial Guinea, however, the situation keeps getting worse, but it does not go without saying that by associating with the brutal dictatorial regime is directly contributing to the disaster awaiting to happen in Equatorial Guinea. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.